Hello YouTube, this is Shunting Steve back again. This is going to be my Hornby Spencer re-release review part 2. Originally I wasn't going to do a part 2, but a member on YouTube named Hornby Fan1997 left a comment on my first part saying that the handrails on the re-release of Hornby Spencer are different to the original Hornby Spencer model. So I did some investigating into this and I realised that I was wrong in my first part. There are some differences, they are not identical. I just took the word of some member on the Hornby forum who owns both releases of Spencer, the first and second. They said that they are identical, so I just took his word for it. That's why I said in my first part that they are identical, but obviously they're not. Because in the first release of Spencer, the handrails are silver on this part here, which goes down the main body, as obviously you can see on my release of Spencer, which is the second version, they are black. And another difference is this detail underneath the nameplate, which I think is called an inspection hatch, which another member on the Hornby forum said it is. I'm not sure what it is personally. And on the first edition of Spencer, which was released back in 2008, this bit of detail here is not there. I know this because I took a photograph of from the E. Hatton's website, which is a model shop based in the UK. It is a well-known one. I took this image and I edited it in Photoshop. I changed the contrast so we could see the detail more in the first release picture of Spencer that they took, because it is too bright. Now, I do not own the image is credited to E. Hatton's, so let's take a look. Okay, so here's the image of the first generation Spencer, released back in 2008. You can tell the handrail on the main locomotive is silver, as where on mine it is black. And you can see under the nameplate that it's this small piece of detail which there is on mine is not there. So that is a couple of differences to the first generation Spencer and the second generation Spencer. So there are a couple of differences. Also, between the fourth and fifth wheels, there is a piece of plastic which is here. This was actually on both generation of Spencer models, the first and second. Mine is not on here because when I took it out of the box on my first part I accidentally snapped it off. I'm not too bothered about it because it's just a small piece of plastic that hangs over the wheel and I don't think it has any use to anyone or anything. So that's all I have to say about the Spencer model really, to these physical differences. Also, something I'd like to go through with you is this here does not twist. I'm interested to know, does this part twist on the first release of Spencer? Because it definitely doesn't on this one, or at least it doesn't on my model. Also, these wheels, there's no flange on them. So when it goes around the corner of the track, it just hangs off the rails. Which I will show you now because I'm going to do a run of Spencer. Unfortunately, I do not have space for a layout. All I have is just a track of oval, because I'm more focused on collecting characters, engines and rolling stock instead of having a layout. A layout is something I'm going to have in the future. Now, I do not own Spencer's coaches as of yet, so for the time being, he's going to pull these two. I bought these this morning, £7.49 each, from Model Zone. Now, Spencer does not do shunting, but my model will have to deal with it. So, here he goes. He is a very smooth runner. I'm sorry, you will have to bear with me with the focus on this camera because I have to alter it every time I move it, which is a bit of a pain, but it's something that has to be done. Very smooth runner. The side rods look really nice when Spencer is in motion. Now this is Spencer going at his full speed. Not as fast as the Hornby Percy, which is way too fast. If they were going to make an engine which was going to be faster than the Hornby Percy, it should have been Spencer. Because the Hornby Percy runs at a very unrealistic speed, as well as Spencer I think runs at quite a good speed. Now I'm going to run Spencer in reverse. I'm not going to run him too fast in reverse because previously I've had problems with Spencer. The tender derails. I'm not sure why this is, but it happens. Even though there are differences between this release of Spencer and the first release, I really like this release. I think the handrails look really nice because they're more visible. Just a shame that Hornby did not release Spencer with grey wheels matching the livery of the locomotive. But overall it is a nice model anyway, and I would still give this model 10 out of 10. I really recommend you get a hold of one of these Spencer models as soon as you can, especially as there is only a limited edition of 1000, and before Spencer was announced in the 2012 range, these models went for so much money. They went for at least £130 every time. I believe that at a trade show, even when Spencer was announced for this year's range, someone paid £258 for one. Obviously they didn't know that Spencer was going to be re-released. But some people might think that the first generation of Spencer is the more desirable model. To me, I do not care. It doesn't matter to me whether I have the first or the second model of Spencer, because it is a good, no actually it's a fantastic representation of Spencer. I hope you enjoyed my second part of the Spencer review. This is Shunting Steve, signing off.